1. Rolls-Royce collides with Mercedes-Benz. At around 3:30 a.m. on the 26th of July, 2025, a car accident occurred in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. A 3-year-old woman, Yang, was driving a custom Tiffany-colored Rolls-Royce Cullinan when she collided head-on with a black Mercedes-Benz Vito van in front of a barber shop. The media did not explain the cause of the accident, nor did they report the specific location of the accident. Based on photos of the accident site, I compared them with the eastern suburbs of Sydney and found that the accident site was at number 672 New South Head Road, Rose Bay, Woollahra Municipality. The road at the scene is a 4-lane, 2-way road with a speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour. Australian driving rules uniformly require driving on the left. To Miss Yang's right is a gas station. 48 meters further ahead, another road will merge into this main road on the right. A security camera outside the entrance of Char Grill Charlie's SM, a restaurant next to the gas station, captured the crash. The footage shows that just before the accident, Miss Yang's Rolls-Royce swerved into the wrong lane, colliding with the oncoming Mercedes-Benz. Before the collision, both cars attempted to evade the collision, but were traveling too fast to do so. Why the sudden turn? Perhaps Miss Yang suffered a hand cramp and accidentally turned the steering wheel to the right. Or perhaps an obstacle suddenly appeared in the left lane, prompting the driver to steer to the right. However, the surveillance footage showed no obstructions, so it's possible that Miss Yang was experiencing visual disturbances or hallucinations. Based on the numerous billboards and various lights I saw at the scene, I believe this is highly likely. The speed limit on this road section is 60 kilometers per hour, but the combined speed of the two vehicles may have exceeded 100 kilometers per hour. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan weighs about 2.8 tons, and the Mercedes-Benz Vito commercial vehicle weighs about 2.3 tons. The collision was so loud that it even triggered the anti-theft alarm system of a nearby store. The front of the Rolls-Royce was damaged and bruised, its hood twisted and deformed, while the front of the Mercedes-Benz was completely shattered, with debris scattered over a radius of dozens of meters, creating a chaotic scene. The Mercedes driver, George Placeris, who runs a luxury car company called Dakota Limousines, had just returned to the city after dropping off a customer, while Miss Yang had just returned to the suburbs from the city after a party with friends. In Sydney, wealthy individuals tend to live in the suburbs, while the working class typically chooses the city. George Placeris lived in the 2015 postcode area of Alexandria, while Yang lived in the affluent suburb of Vaucluse. This encounter changed the course of both men's lives. After the accident, the airbags in both vehicles deployed automatically. Miss Yang emerged from the driver's cab unharmed. The Mercedes driver, however, was trapped inside, unable to move. He initially passed out, then regained consciousness due to the pain. The 2-year-old Mercedes driver suffered a dislocated right kneecap, a broken thigh bone, 2 femur fractures, a comminuted right hip fracture, abdominal lacerations, several broken ribs, a ruptured spleen and diaphragm, and even a fractured spine. He was conscious but in pain.
在此，希望广大的朋友们能够关注我。如果你还没有这样做，那就赶紧点一点关注吧。我将尽我的力量发掘大家关心的问题，查看那些事件背后的背后。
2. She tried to leave the scene of the accident. The crash woke the sleeping people, and someone called emergency services. Soon, police and firefighters arrived. Around 4:30 a.m., they used hydraulic cutters to saw open the cockpit, and the Mercedes driver was finally rescued. The Mercedes driver, who was chauffeuring radio host Kyle Sandilands this week, begged the ambulance crew to find his phone so he could call a colleague to take over the work, ensuring the radio host's work wasn't interrupted. It is worth noting that radio host Kyle Sandilands and Miss Yang both live in the wealthy area of Vaucluse. Although the Mercedes driver loves his work, his healthy life has been reversed. After exiting her Rolls-Royce, the driver of the accident, Miss Yang, checked on the Mercedes driver before leaving the scene while making a phone call. She wasn't contacting emergency services, but perhaps her private bodyguard or lawyer, as some speculate. She soon returned to the scene, seemingly unsettled. She wore a Chanel two-piece dress, a warm yellow cropped round-shouldered jacket, thin black silk tights, vintage Chanel silver floral high heels, and a brown Prada Miu Miu bucket hat. Black stockings are typically worn on dates, while a cropped round-shouldered jacket is often worn at dinners or cocktail parties. So, she might have just finished a pleasant gathering. The car accident she had just witnessed marked a truly unlucky evening for her. Upon arrival, police conducted a breathalyzer test and initially confirmed that Miss Yang's blood alcohol concentration exceeded the legal limit, implying drunk driving. They then detained her and took her to the police station. While there, officers sought a more accurate breathalyzer test to confirm her drunk driving. Perhaps to reduce the amount of evidence needed to incriminate her and gain the upper hand in the subsequent legal proceedings, Miss Yang refused to cooperate with the police, hindering the smooth progress of the investigation. According to local law, drunk driving is a serious traffic accident. Not only will the driver's license be revoked for up to 5 years, but the driver's name, license plate number, and alcohol concentration will also be published in newspapers to reinforce the punishment through public pressure. Miss Yang must have been extremely afraid of being exposed, as she appeared frightened at the scene of the accident. Initially, she may have wanted to leave the scene, attempting to avoid exposure by remaining invisible, so much so that she even dropped one of her Chanel high heels in her panic. There are media reports that after the accident, Miss Yang paid a high bail. Furthermore, relevant judicial institutions in Sydney have received multiple requests for special care. However, due to the lack of relevant evidence, these reports are not credible. It is worth noting that the accident occurred in Woollahra municipality, where Miss Yang also lives, and there are 4 police stations near the scene of the accident. However, Miss Yang was taken to Waverley Police Station in the neighboring Waverley area. 3. She walked out of the police station soon.